So you bought yourself a Nintendo Switch 2, and you've fallen back in love with the Switch library. Well, let me show you another trilogy you should add to your collection before it's too late. Today, we're talking about the Batman Arkham trilogy, because this game, which is compatible with the Nintendo Switch 2, contains all 3 games from the Batman Arkham series. Technically, there were 4 games in the Arkham series, Arkham Origins being an incredibly underrated game in this series that doesn't get talked about enough. Troy Baker, you the bomb as Joker, yo! But I digress. This is yet another physical release that I highly recommend you go pick up for the Nintendo Switch, because it not only plays on a Switch, but it plays on a Switch too. It contains 3 fantastic games and probably gonna go out of print soon if it hasn't already, which means prices are gonna go up. And that just gives you one more reason why the Nintendo Switch and Switch 2 libraries are so fantastic. And remember, physical for life. So you just bought yourself a Nintendo Switch 2. Well, let me tell you about one of the best kept secrets in the Nintendo Switch library that you're probably gonna wanna pick up before it gets incredibly expensive and hard to find. Just a few years ago, a bunch of the best Star Wars games of the last few generations were remastered and re-released. And a lot of those games released for the Nintendo Switch, but what a lot of people don't know is there is actually one release that contains all of them. And right now, you can get it for really cheap. This is the Star Wars Heritage Pack, and it contains 7 of the best Star Wars games ever released. We got The Force Unleashed, Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy, and Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast. Both fantastic Star Wars games you probably never played. One of the best and the best Star Wars RPG of all time, Knights of the Old Republic and Knights of the Old Republic 2. The Forgotten Gem of a Squad Shooter, Republic Commando, and Star Wars Racer. All 7 games in one package. And this is one of those weird Switch releases that didn't get a lot of copies pressed, so I highly suggest going out and trying to find yourself one now before they're like hundreds of dollars on eBay. Because trust me, they are all fantastic Star Wars games, and of course, they're compatible with your brand new Nintendo Switch 2. So what if there was a video game based on Bambi? Except after the hunter kills your mother, you hunt down the hunter looking to seek revenge. Hear me out. Now, what if instead of a deer, you were a shark, and the hunter who killed your mother was actually a commercial fisherman? Now, if that sounds awesome, I have good news for you. This is actually a video game, and you've probably never played it, but you should find a copy, buy it, and do so. Let me tell you why. In 2020, Deep Silver published Man-Eater, and this game is incredibly weird and awesome, where you play as a female bull shark who is actually trying to track down the fisherman who caught and killed her mother. And Tripwire, the developers of this game, had some pretty interesting ideas. They wanted to create an open world RPG like Deus Ex or Breath of the Wild, but they wanted to give it its own spin, and they certainly did that here. And to make it even weirder, for inspiration with the combat system, they cite Dark Souls and Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, where all of your actions are very deliberate and all your enemies have patterns that you have to learn. It's actually a really good game that came to every single console, including the Nintendo Switch, which works on your Nintendo Switch 2. And of course, it is 100% physical. And there were actually 2 full DLC packs that were produced for this game. And the DLC packs really go places. And I'm talking like Red Dead Redemption, Undead Nightmare really goes somewhere. But the really interesting thing about this game, especially for the Nintendo Switch, is that the physical copy is now out of print, which means the prices are going up. And this one seems to be going up a lot faster than some of the other ones that I've talked about. Currently, you can actually get it on Amazon for like 25 bucks. But just about a month and a half ago, it was like 10 bucks. This is definitely one of those sleeper titles I highly suggest picking up and playing, and probably sooner than later, because I could also see it being one of those games that ends up being $100 to $150 if you want the physical version. All right, now check this out. I actually love this game so much that I bought 2 used copies when I was at the GameStop buy 2 get 1 free deal they had going a couple weeks ago, because I really want to pay it forward. So tonight, during the Tears of the Kingdom live stream on Twitch, Switch, 7 p.m. Pacific time, I'm gonna give a copy away to one of you guys. All you gotta do is show up, hang out. Tofer.A plays on Twitch. We'll see you guys tonight. Now, here's a game most people didn't even know came to the Nintendo Switch, and right now, it's very cheap. You should probably get it, you know, before it gets really hard to find and people start complaining about how expensive it is. After all, it is Forgotten Game Friday. And today, we are talking about the ultimate driving playground that is Burnout Paradise Remastered for the Nintendo Switch. And let me tell you what's so special about this version. Well, for starters, it's a very good handheld version of the best arcade racer ever made. And secondly, if you buy this version of the game, it is 100% physical. That means every bit of this game, including all of the DLC add-ons, are included on the Switch game cart. Now, this is a very important point, which means in years to come, you'll be able to play this whenever and however you want, because you will own it. And the two most important things, it plays really well on a Nintendo Switch 2, and it's currently 20 bucks. Brand new. Now let me explain what happens if you decide to wait. Well, this little physical gem here is going out of print, which means in months to come, you're not going to be able to find it brand new anymore. You're gonna have to buy it used. And at that point, it's probably gonna be closer to $40, $50, or $60. And then next year when you go, man, I really wanna play that Burnout Paradise, I should have bought it on the Switch. It's very possible when you go to buy it online, it's gonna be like 140 bucks, just like dozens of other Nintendo Switch titles currently. So do yourself a favor, buy yourself a physical copy of Burnout Paradise Remastered right now because it's 20 bucks. Because if you're young enough to have not experienced this game yet, man, you are in for a treat. Have you ever asked yourself, just how did Jango Fett acquire the coolest ship in the galaxy with Slave One? Whatever we call it these days. Or an even better question is, how did he become the template to the clones in the Imperial Army? Well, it's Forgotten Game Friday. And today we're talking about that 2002 forgotten Star Wars gem, Star Wars Bounty Hunter. Released for the PlayStation 2 and the GameCube, this game didn't necessarily light the world on fire unless you played through it. And for us few select people, we have a soft spot for this one. The story for this game takes place right before Attack of the Clones, or Episode 2, when Count Dooku, or at the time Darth Tyrannus, hires Jango Fett to hunt down a dark Jedi. And in the process, Jango Fett does a few things, like acquiring Slave One, or meeting Zam Weasel for the first time, or maybe just becoming the template for the army that executes Order 66. Did I mention he also gets caught up in like a death stick smuggling ring? It's very strange, but very fun. But unfortunately, like a lot of stories from this era, it is now considered legend canon, which means it's not real canon anymore, thanks Disney. But the good news is, at the end of last year, developer Aspyr reworked this game, fixed a lot of the control issues, and updated a lot of the visuals. And it was released on just about every platform, including the Switch, which is compatible with the Nintendo Switch 2. The reason that this one is so special is because if you got the limited run version of the game, it is 100% physical. No downloads needed. That means you could play this game like 30 years from now. And so much like the fantastic Star Wars Heritage Pack on the Nintendo Switch, this is another awesome game to put into your Star Wars Switch collection before the thing's like over $100 and you can't find it anymore. Because the physical release was a limited run title and it's starting to get pretty expensive. Did you ever play Star Wars Bounty Hunter? So you got yourself a Nintendo Switch 2 and you are looking for more games like Mario. Well, here's a game suggestion for you that you might have missed. And you should probably pick it up sooner than later, and here's why. This little gem is SpongeBob SquarePants, Battle for Bikini Bottom. And it's okay if you don't remember this game. It sort of slipped under the radar when it was released by THQ back in 2003 for the Xbox, PlayStation 2, and GameCube. But just a few years ago, a company bought tons of THQ IP and reopened under the name THQ Nordic, and they rehydrated this gem. And not only does the game look and play awesome, but you can get it on the Nintendo Switch 100% physical. And hopefully I don't need to explain to you what that means anymore. Now, once again, I'm telling you about these Switch releases because they're all backwards compatible with the Nintendo Switch 2, and they're all super cheap right now. I bought this brand new at Walmart for 20 bucks. And much like most of the other Nintendo Switch releases that I've been showing you, this one is also delisted, which means, yep, the price is gonna go up. So I suggest that you get in the battle for Bikini Bottom before used copies are like priced out of most people's budget. Because it's not a matter of if it will happen, it's a matter of how soon it's going to happen. And if you don't do it now, you're gonna wish you would have picked up these awesome gems when they were cheap.
What are you doing? I'm playing a new game.
What game is this?
Tiny Bookshop.
Tiny Bookshop. It's an interesting looking game. On your Switch?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you do?
I haven't really figured it out yet, but you're running a little tiny bookshop.
Oh, I see. You have like different genres here.
Oh, I did it.
This looks riveting.
Cute.
Do you sell these books? What's the deal?
Yeah. Hold on, I'm just stocking my shelves.
Oh, she's just stocking her shelves. 1 second.
I feel like we have way too many kids' books on the shelf, you know? Fantasy has a 30% chance of sale. 33. Okay, I feel like this is good.
Is this game basically just teaching you how to run your own like Barnes and Nobles?
Yeah, but it's like hold on, okay. Yeah,
How'd you find this game? TikTok. Well, if it's on the TikTok, it must be worth checking out.
Okay, your shelves are ready. Let's go set up shop.
Your shelves are ready. Go set up shop. Okay, let's see it.
This is my day 2.
Oh, you're in a little trailer.
Yeah.
This game's got quite the vibe.
Okay, so watch. I'm going to open my doors.
Oh.
And then people are going to start coming to my little bookstore. What do you think he's going to buy?
Oh, does it tell you what they buy?
Oh, I got another customer. Oh, he's into travel. He bought one.
Hey, you sold a book.
Oh my God, there's so many customers coming.
Wow.
I'm booming.
You're gonna need a new trailer. Oh, look at.
Sounds like I've unlocked other places to park.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, a cafe.
It's an interesting looking game.
Good call.
You know, this game is giving me a very unfinished Swan vibe to it. It kind of looks and feels like that, sounds like that.
Journal.
Well, this is really interesting. The missus has found herself a new game for the Nintendo Switch 2 called
Tiny Bookshop.
Tiny Bookshop. Look into this game a little bit more. Have you heard of Tiny Bookshop? I think I've lost my wife to it. I guess it's better that than the trashy smut TV you were watching.
I just bought a Nintendo Switch 2. Which game should I buy? Is a question I get asked all the time, and my answer is a little unconventional. Let me tell you why. Because the obvious answer you're gonna get out of most people is gonna be either Mario Kart, Breath of the Wild, or Tears of the Kingdom. But here's one that's gonna cost you half the price that you're likely to spend twice as much time with, and that is Red Dead Redemption. You see, not only does this game run really well on a Switch 2, it actually contains both Red Dead Redemption and Undead Nightmare. And Undead Nightmare is a storyline I highly suggest people experience after playing through the entirety of Red Dead Redemption. But why do I suggest something like this instead of something like Cyberpunk? If the Nintendo Switch 2 happens to be your first console, it's very likely you haven't experienced this game. And there is a lot to experience. Not to mention, this little game cart here actually holds the entirety of both Red Dead Redemption and Undead Nightmare. Meaning, 15, 20 years from now, you can pull this baby out with this game and play it. You don't have to worry about downloading anything. Which leads me to my next reason. While you're taking your sweet time enjoying this awesome game, that will create a little space for games like Cyberpunk for the Switch 2 to drop in price, which is also 100% physical as well. And you can even find copies of Red Dead Redemption used on the Switch for like 30 bucks. In fact, I think GameStop is still offering the buy two get one free deal on all used games, which is a perfect time to pick a game like this up. And by the time you're done with this, you could hop onto something like this and the price will have dropped. And the interesting thing is, the price on this will have gone up. because this is going out of print. And that is my suggestion for your brand new Switch 2. So you just bought yourself a Nintendo Switch 2. Well, let me show you another fantastic hidden gem from the Switch library that you should probably buy soon, because it's probably gonna go out of print if it hasn't already. And this is one of those really special game collections for a very specific reason. Let me explain. So back in the late 90s, artist and game developer Lauren Lanning created Oddworld Inhabitants. And the very first game in the series was Oddworld Abe's Odyssey. And if you don't remember this game, it was a fantastic side-scroller for the PlayStation 1. And this game spawned a franchise. It is one of the most creative and best developed universes you will ever experience. Which is why I highly suggest going out and finding yourself a Switch copy of this, the Oddworld Collection. This Switch game right here contains 3 of the best games in the series. A full remake of the original Oddworld for the PlayStation 1, the Xbox game, Oddworld Munch's Odyssey, and one of the best Western shooters ever developed, which was Oddworld Stranger's Wrath. And I know in a world where Red Dead Redemption exists, that's a crazy statement, but it's true. And not only are these 3 games fantastic, they're very different from each other. From a side-scrolling platformer to a third first-person open-world Western shooter. This is one of the best game collections you could possibly buy. And I highly suggest going out and picking yourself up a copy before it's gone, because the really special thing about this game cart is that it actually contains all 3 games. No downloads are needed, which means 10, 20 years from now, you can pull this game cart out and pop it into your Switch or your Switch 2 and play it, because everything you need is here. You own it. And in case you're one of those people who said, no, I didn't buy myself a Nintendo Switch, then I cordially invite you to tomorrow night's Twitch stream at 7 p.m. Pacific time, because I am going to be giving away a Nintendo Switch 2 at the very end of the stream. All you have to do is come, hang out, be a part of the community, and watch me play the Switch 2 version of The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. It's always a good time. And maybe you'll go home with a Nintendo Switch 2. Okay, boys, we're at the mall because today is one of those infamous days where GameStop is having one of their buy 2, get 1 free, which means you get 3 games, and there's 1, 2, 3 of us. So we're gonna go in and we're going to add 3 new games to our Nintendo Switch and Switch 2 collection. What will we choose? Do you know what you're gonna get yet?
No, not really.
Well, let's go in there and see what they got. What's it gonna be, Cross? What you got there, Leland? Okay, good choice. You know what I'm looking for?
What?
I am looking for The Thing remaster. It's a horror game based on one of the greatest horror movies of all time. But they did do a remaster recently, and it did come to the Switch. Let's see if we can find it.
Yes, I found it. Princess Peach Showtime.
I guess that is one release that we didn't get.
Yeah.
Now you gotta choose between those 2. Look at right here. Da-da. A lot of people didn't even know that this existed the first time, and even less people knew that it was remastered. It did come to the Switch, and it's 100% physical, which means the entire game is installed on this game card. It's a really important factoid. No, see, the way it works is we each get 1, and then one of those 3 ends up being free. Would you think we were all gonna get 3 games each? You thought we were gonna leave here with 9 games? Not today. Oh, Leland has found a game that I've actually been looking for, again, because it's 100% physical on the Switch, working on the Switch too. What you got there, bud? Red Dead Redemption. And Leland has not experienced the Red Dead Redemption story. That's definitely one that you need to get. That would be my vote, dude. Crosby is choosing what? What are you choosing?
Poppy Playtime.
Let me see.
Yeah.
All right, have we all made our choices?
Yeah.
I know what I'm going for. Go check out. We ended up not doing the buy 2 get 1 free because it's only for used games. The games that Leland and I wanted, they didn't have used, and the game Crosby picked out, they were sold out of. They said the physical copy has been really popular, which goes to show there are still lots of physical copies of games being sold. In fact, a lot of them are selling out because a lot of people aren't buying them. So we did not take advantage of buy two, get one free, but we did get some games.
Red Dead Redemption.
And I got the thing remastered on Switch, both of which contain the entire game on the game card, which is really important.
So you bought a Nintendo Switch 2, and you have fallen back in love with the monstrous Nintendo Switch library. Well, here's another gem from this catalog that you should probably pick up before it's too late. I've already showed you the Star Wars Heritage Collection with 7 different Star Wars games on it, and the Oddworld Collection with 3 of the oddest but coolest video games you probably never played. But did you know the Switch library has a physical edition of one of the greatest video game trilogies of all time? That is Assassin's Creed The Etzio Collection. And it contains Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood, and Revelations. But let me tell you what's so special about this version. Not only do you get 3 of the best Assassin's Creed games in the series, but you also get all the DLC for all of the games. Now, if you can't find this thing out in the wild, or even better yet, a used copy, you can buy it for like 15 to 20 bucks, which is a killer deal for all 3 of these games and an amazing experience that you can have on your Nintendo Switch 1 or your Nintendo Switch 2. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't know that there is a physical edition of this, so they didn't print a lot of these. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if these were actually out of print already, which means you should probably go find yourself one now before they end up being an $80 to $100 Switch game, which is something we're starting to see a lot. So you got yourself a Nintendo Switch 2, and you've already played through Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, and Tears of the Kingdom, but you need more. I have just the thing for you may have overlooked. This little gem is called Darksiders. It actually came out back in 2010 for the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3, developed by Vigil and released by THQ. And this game is an awesome open world-ish action platformer that puts off vibes to something like a modern day Ocarina of Time. It's just very Zelda-like. And in this game, you whoop ass through a beautifully crafted world as War, the first of the 4 horsemen. And this game was designed to have 3 sequels, 4 in total, 1 for each horseman of the apocalypse. Unfortunately, THQ sort of disappeared. But good news! A few years ago, a lot of the IP originally developed by THQ was purchased, and THQ was reopened under THQ Nordic. And the company reissued a ton of games that you probably didn't get to play, Darksiders being one of them. And here's why the Switch version is one you should pay attention to. First off, the entire game is installed on the game card. Totally 100% physical. You own this, you could play it years down the line on your Nintendo Switch if you so like. And secondly, it's an awesome game that's a lot like Zelda that you could take on the go and play with you wherever your heart desires. But most importantly, the thing is super cheap right now. In fact, I got it for free during one of the buy two get one free GameStop deals. Usually used, it's under 20 bucks, but it is now out of print. So I can guarantee you the $20 price tag is not going to last long as people start to realize that not only is this a really good game, but it's a physical game and that they should probably pick it up. And the next thing you know, you'll be paying like $120 for it used on eBay. So my suggestion to you is to pick up Darksiders. Play it, because it's a super fun game and you can keep it for your collection forever. So here's an awesome original Xbox game that you probably missed, or you might have just been too young to have played it altogether, but it's out for the Nintendo Switch, and here's why you should go pick up a copy and play it before too much time passes. This wonderful little game here is Stubbs the Zombie, Rebel Without a Pulse. I can see the look on some of your faces. You're like, what the hell is that? This reverse horror action adventure game takes place in a retro futuristic 1959, and its claim to fame was it was actually built on the Halo engine and was originally an Xbox exclusive exclusive game. It takes place in a small town in Pennsylvania in the 1950s where you play Stubbs, who reanimates, comes back from the dead to have his revenge and eat the brains of all the inhabitants of the town. Now, if that sounds super weird but a lot of fun, that's because it absolutely was. And if you haven't played Stubbs the Zombie yet and you got yourself a Nintendo Switch 2, I highly recommend picking it up. A, because it's a super fun, awesome, obscure game I suggest everyone check out, and B, it's backwards compatible for the Switch 2. It is also 100% physical, and it's delisted, which again means it's going out of print and the prices are gonna start going up. But as of right now, you can buy a copy used for as little as like 15 bucks. So what are you waiting for? Get out there and eat some brains. Psst, hey, it's Friday. You know what that means. I'm about to tell you about a game that you probably missed because you didn't think it was good. Well, it's Forgotten Game Friday, and today I'm gonna talk to you about a game that you very well could have written off because maybe you thought it was a kid's game, or maybe you thought it looked bad. But I'm here to tell you, I played through this game with my kids, and to this day, I still think about it, and I absolutely love it. And there is a physical copy that came to the Switch that will play really well on your brand new Nintendo Switch 2, and right now, it's super cheap, but you should probably pick it up soon. Now, you may have run across the first game in this series from your kids watching like a YouTube channel, something like FGTV. They used to play it quite a bit, but I'm talking about Hello Neighbor 2. Now, I'm willing to admit, when the first Hello Neighbor came out, my kids used to watch a ton of videos on it, and I tried playing it, and it just sort of wasn't for me. It was clunky, I didn't understand what you were supposed to do, so I sort of wrote it off. But 2 holiday seasons ago, my kids were homesick with the flu, and I noticed that Hello Neighbor 2 was on Game Pass. Leland was begging me to play it, so I downloaded it and I started playing it. And to my delight, the game completely hooked me. It was fantastic. We spent the next 3 days laying about in the living room while they were sick, playing through the entire game. And I loved every second. And I gotta tell you, even though I didn't know a lot about the lore from the first game, the second game's story is not only really good, but it's kind of touching as well. The gameplay was no longer clunky, the level design was awesome, the visuals were very beautiful, and the story was really well crafted. Not to mention, it has some really awesome DLC as well. So if the Hello Neighbor series is something that you always looked at and were sort of curious about, I highly suggest picking up a copy of Hello Neighbor 2 for the Nintendo Switch. It is currently 33% off on Amazon, making it well under $30 and well worth the money, because I'm pretty sure the game's probably gonna get delisted sooner than later, and it might end up being one of those games that you're gonna have to pay like $80 to $100 for on the used market when you really wanna play it. So did you ever play Hello Neighbor 2? Maybe I'm crazy, maybe my kids had something to do with it, but I loved it.